Yo, what's going on, Moses? Your boy Huncho. Just wanted to go over the trade that I took today on spot. I'm also going to be explaining my strategy in this video. I am outside, so don't mind the background noise. But yeah, fellas, let's get right to it. So the trade that we took today was the 615 calls, and I'm gonna show you guys why I took this. So my main guidance is honestly my levels, guys. So my levels, I just spend time on the charts. Any area of high interest, in my opinion, where the market has reacted very heavily, on like the 30-minute or the 1 hour, whatever time frame you feel comfortable using, is just the areas I mark and I watch very carefully to look at, reactions for the next day whenever we approach that area again. Okay, so the main triggers for today, I'm gonna show you guys the triggers. So if we look, I post this on Twitter and in my Discord as well if you're in the Discord. So these are my triggers. Every morning I post this for any ticker that I'm interested in, whether it be IWM, SPY, or QQQ. So for SPY, the triggers were 614.50 and puts below 611.28. So calls above 614.50 and puts below 611.28. All right, and then for QQQ we had 665, calls above there and puts below 662.10. All right, so those were my triggers, and I'm gonna show you guys how to look at this. So these are the levels that I consider to be A plus, triggers for, breakouts, and for a direction to occur. So for a direction to confirm, shall I say? So 614.50, guys. The way you approach, getting into position off of these levels, you don't just get in, or once it's near, once it hits, you get in and full port. No, the best way to do it is, number one, there's a way where you can just, if you have experience, watching the charts, and you can tell when the candle has a lot of strength. Once you see a breakout with a lot of strength, the volume increase, you can get in there as well. And there's that. And also you could just wait for a candle close, or even wait for the candle close and just wait for a pullback or a retest if you feel a lot more comfortable, looking at retests for confirmation, triple, double confirmation, whatever you use to enter trades, right? So that's the way to approach these levels, guys. As you guys can see, we didn't break above this level until 1:30, and that's when we finally got the move to the upside. As you guys can see, we ended up ripping even after hours. We didn't get the whole move after we broke out, but you guys can see after hours we hit above 716. So yeah, this is a high high quality setup there, guys. And same thing with the downside. If we would have broke under 611.28, that would have been an area for us to look for more downside. Now I get in calls. Where did I get in calls? Okay, now I told you guys that this was an early entry, and I told everybody to cut. This play did end up paying over 25%. It was like around 20%, 25%, around there. I mean, that's what I saw. I wasn't really looking at the P&L, but around there is how much we got paid after my entry, my initial entry. I didn't take any profits. I didn't trim or nothing, because I wanted to give more room for the play to play out. Because if you guys can see, you guys have seen recently how I got screwed up is, I would take 20-30% on these plays, and then whenever I was, taking a bad entry, or my entry was bad and it pulled back and it went against me, I would let the play ride to, negative 50-60%. So, I just wanted to be more patient with the winning plays and be a little bit impatient with the losing plays. But today, we were kind of, we were back into that, same thing in that same trap where, we were back down, way down, and averaged down on a losing position. But I still had, conviction that the move was going to occur, and what I was looking for was going to happen. So the reason why is because, just having experience in the markets, and also watching how SPY has moved, I can kind of tell, when, people are going to get wrecked. Anything that looks too easy to get in, I'm not saying reverse psychology is the key, but I'm saying is that a lot of times, you want to try to stay distant away from the majority of people's ideas and the noise, right? So you kind of just want to stick to what you've seen before, and the patterns, because a lot of the times when you just follow your plan and just stay patient, you end up being right, but because of the noise and such, you kind of get wrecked and do what everybody else does, and you don't want to fall into that. But why did I get in this play? A lot of people, were asking, why did I get in this play, or how did I even hold this play? So I'll show you guys. All right. So we got the reversal around pre-market low, right? That's another main level is pre-market high, pre-market low. Those are my top two levels that I recommend for everybody if you want to break, if you want to use as triggers as well. But yeah, pre-market low, and then also the VIX. Okay, so we got a fat a reversal on the VIX at 1917. Whenever we are within a range, fellows, I look at these areas as support and resistance. Same thing with the triggers, right? As you guys can see, this 614.50 area, we rejected off that area. You could have grabbed puts and got paid to the downside, so that works as well. But right now I'm trying to focus on the directional moves and the breakouts, right? To try to juice out as much as the setup and the play can give me, all right, to maximize our profits. So yeah, there was the VIX reject off that 1917, and we got in around 9:55. This was the candle I got in on SPY. Let me show you guys really quick. So right around here. So I got in this candle around 9:50. So you guys can see on the VIX it lined up well. All right, we got the fat reject there. We couldn't hold above, and just we saw more downside movement on the VIX. So I was in expectation for the breakout to occur, and we did get a little bit more juice to the upside, but not as much as we wanted. We didn't break the level. We just kept on rejecting, and we got a power candle here, thinking that the breakout was going to occur. We were up around 25% again, fellas. So we averaged down, and we didn't take any profits. We just held the play. I was down around $900. This is not a play that you really want to hold, but I'm gonna show you guys why I was still in this. Okay, this is why I told everybody just cut, because I know a lot of you guys don't go with the same sizing that I do, and it's understandable. I told you guys to always go lighter, look for cheaper, don't just tail my plays. But yeah, we held this play, but I told everybody just cut and just wait to load up at 712. Okay, so 712.30, right? We dip right back to that key zone, and look at that, bottomed perfectly. And I told everybody this is the bottom. It's time to set it off. We're at it now. All right. Now why? Because if we look at this very carefully, right, these zones right here are very important decision makers. How do I back this up? Well, there's this tool I like to use, guys, and it's the ITM matrix. Shout out to my boy Banks. All right, my boy Banks plugged me up with this. If you guys want the pro version, you can use code Huncho for 30% off. Yeah, very, very great tool. I'm new to this. You guys know me. I like to be very old school with it. I'm just levels and price action and volume. That's me. I know that's the bread and butter, for the OGs. But with this coming out and stuff, it's a very new read for me. All right, I haven't been in this game as long as most people think. So this is all a journey, and I'm just willing to share with you guys, to get in this together and just head to the top. All right, so we'll go ahead and watch the intraday replay real quick. You guys look I'll start it at 10 a.m. All right, so at 10 a.m. that's when we got into the play. You guys, we had the magnet at 712. We had the high volume, high interest there. All right, over 100K volume there. And you guys are gonna see around noon how this tends to flip. And if you guys can see this 716, how the volume started to increase there. All right, so you guys see right there. Once we dip back down, dip to 712, we finally started to decrease in volume and started to pick up at 716. You guys can see the increase right there, 96K. All right, 98 now. Now we beat the 712. All right, now we're heading to the 115, 124, and then right around 230, that's when it turns into the magnet. Boom, you see? So I was watching this in real time, fellas, just watching how the volume was increasing at 712, right? And the VIX kept dying. So, finally when we broke out of this 1878, just gave me more conviction to hold this play. And as you guys can see, even the 1848, we broke to the downside, and SPY continued to rip up after hours. So yeah, fellas, once we broke that key level, that's how we got to play. All right, so yeah, that's how I held this play, and I honestly recommend you guys to really pay attention to my posts on Twitter. I'm gonna try to post these weeklies or twice a week, but I post my levels in the heat map as well. I started to do this and use ChatGPT to kind of lay out everything for me. It's very, very helpful and useful tool. If you read through it, it just takes like 5 minutes or even less. But yeah, you guys look at this. So if it's 712 decision level, okay, all right. You guys can see the volume around there, and also it lined up perfectly with our key zone as well. That area was going to be the area where it was going to make the decision for the day, and you guys can look at the targets and stuff like that, and the magnet and the QQQ as well. Around 663, 664 mid zone chop. Look what happened at QQQ. All right, in that zone, QQQ was complete garbage in my opinion today. We did break the downside. You could have grabbed some green on those puts, but I just didn't like the setup. I didn't like the volume. Everything was just getting sweep to the upside, and you guys can see right here between 63, 64 chop zone, horrible. So I don't even think those calls even recovered if you grabbed QQQ calls. Very, very bad price action in my opinion. So within that range, I wasn't going to be looking for anything A plus. And that's the thing with SPY and SPY as well. This area right here, a lot of consolidation. So in reality, for the people that are really like have high expectations, in their setups and just really want high quality, you shouldn't have even gotten into anything, to be honest. It was just not the day to be trading SPY because it was too much chop in the morning. You could have got to the move to the downside, but it was honestly just a ping pong game, and it was just not too much clarity going on. And yeah, fellas. So yeah, that's how I took the trade on SPY today. Just really using my levels, guys. Conviction. If you get into plays, get in with high conviction. Don't doubt yourself. If I'm putting my money on the table, it's because I'm confident in them. I'm not saying they're always going to be right, but you just got to be confident, because why are you going to doubt the play? You're just going to end up taking plays that are just, very well are not high quality setup. Why? Because in your mind, you program yourself to be like, I'm not really confident. Because where does that lack of confidence come from? It comes from, taking low quality setups. That's just the truth. And you know what a high quality setup is? You just got to be really patient, wait for them, and just, go at it. Manage your risk, but execute like a professional with confidence. But yeah, fellas, if you guys have any questions, I try to make this, a little bit more detailed and more extended. If you guys learned something, give me some feedback, in the comments, leave a like, and make sure to subscribe. And let's continue to bank this week, fellas. Peace out.